And she allowed the police to escort your fiance out of your home? It's either me or you, and you're going down. I ordered the drink to share, but I really just wanted the whole drink. Why do you want to marry me?
Because I asked.
No! Where do we begin? Hey guys, welcome to another episode. I'm Bean, you're tuned into Honey Hearts. Today we're diving into some Am I the A-hole Reddit stories. Basically, it's a thread where strangers on the internet ask whether or not they're the a-hole in this situation or if they're in the wrong. And our job is we're going to enjoy reading through some stories, maybe give some advice, judge a smidge, and overall listen to some heartwarming or heartbreaking stories. Now, today's story's theme is clueless. Not like the movie, which I also really like, but some people are just really clueless. So let's dive into some of the stories. But before we do into that, I've been thinking about what we should do for spooky weekend or maybe Halloween week. I don't know. I want to do something fun with you guys. One of you guys suggested that maybe M, aka my fiance that listens in with us on some of the episodes, maybe pick one of the stories for us to read out loud. And I think that's a great idea. I'm definitely doing that. But if you guys have any suggestions for the channel, please let me know in the comments below. All right, let's hop into our first story. Our first story is from the subreddit, Am I the A-hole? Am I the a-hole for telling my parents I'm not changing my name because of their name regret? I'm 16-year-old male, my parents' youngest kid, and the only kid the name based on what they liked versus what the family wanted them to name us. My siblings were all named after family members like both my dad's and mom's families prefer, or what they prefer. By the time they got around to having me, they were like, F this shit, and told their family they were choosing a name based on what they liked and not based on family. So they named me Sunny. Yeah, the girl version of Sunny with an O. I don't care. I don't think Sunny is girly because it has a U versus an O, but anyway, my parents started to regret my name when I was maybe 10. I don't remember exactly when, but I can remember being about 10 and my parents started sometimes calling me by my middle name and only stopping when I told them it was weird and that I liked my first name. When I was 13, they asked me if I ever went by a nickname and I said no. Last year, they said some kids changed their names before graduating high school because they want something more grown up and they want to save the added expense of changing the name on their degree. I was like, oh, I guess if people want that, it makes sense. Then I said, it must suck to hate your name. 6 months ago, my parents said I look like a James, nicknamed Jamie. I asked them why they thought that, and they said I just had that look. They asked what I thought of the name, and I said, I like Jamie but prefer Sunny. Then they asked if I liked the name Luke, and I said no. I appreciate the fact that the parents haven't given up, and it seems like they keep trying to warm OP up into the idea of changing his name. I feel like any moment now, probably in a bit, the parents are just going to say, hey, so Sonny, you're going to have to change your name. We don't like it. We have regrets. Just switch it. You look like a Jamie. I mean, I don't think Sonny's that out of the blue. We've heard some crazy names on the channel. But Sonny, I think, is kind of cute. Is it quirky? Yeah. Is it a little bit out of the blue? No. Out of the blue, sky blue, sunny, get it? I kind of like it. It's kind of like a cute weather name, kind of like a sky, or like a stormy. It's cute. It's not too out there. Now, between Sunny with a U, like Sunny and Sonny, I think Sunny with a U has more character. So if your kid likes it, I'm already with OP. You don't have to change your name. I mean, they already went through the whole, I guess, the struggle of naming him Sunny. You had to have known that this is something the kid's going to have. You can't just look at your kid one day and play Sims and say, hit change name and reset the character, right? So let's see what OP says. In June, they asked me if I would consider letting them change my name to something different. They said they feel like they named me as a big FU to their families, but felt bad that I had such an unserious name for a man. I told them I didn't want to change my name, and I always loved the way they talked about finding my name. They said their feelings had changed, and they felt like the name being cute and light and full of hope wasn't great for going into my adult years. They said they deeply regretted it. Well, dang. When you put it like that, your name's full of hope and it's cute and it's light. But now that you're an adult, we don't feel that way anymore. It's not light anymore. It's not hopeful anymore. Just change to something more real, more practical. It's kind of sad. OB says, I told them I was glad they made the choice they did and they shouldn't stress it. But last week they got the paperwork for a legal name change and presented me with like 3 name choices and asked me to pick. They said they really didn't want to live with the guilt. I told them I'm not changing my name because of their name regret. I told them how I feel about my name is more important right now. They told me I should at least think of their feelings and that I should consider the future and whether I'll be taken seriously. Am I the a hole? You know, as a kid, I don't think I ever thought about changing my name. It just felt like, I'm spawned into the universe. This is the identity I was given. I don't know. I don't think I ever asked my parents, hey, can I change my name? I know some people end up doing it because they don't feel like they identify with it. In this case, OP, okay. Easy first verdict is no, you're not the a hole for not wanting to change your name. You've already kind of become the name. I will say though, if they're asking him to reconsider because they're worried about his future, I don't think he should be compelled to, but it's something to think about. I recently had a discussion, right, with one of my friends. So she was talking about baby names and the fact that you think it's all lighthearted and you think, okay, what's a pretty name? Usually people want to pick something that's nice sounding for their kids, right? Or named after some sort of figure that they like or maybe linked to some fandom. I think I told you guys before that Daenerys, like Game of Thrones, was a pretty popular name. But then she brought up the idea of the fact that names might set you up for success in a way. And I think there's some truth to that. Okay, hear me out, guys. For example, when we were talking about, okay, leaders, like you always hear about something that's more imposing, like I don't know, like a Paula. Paula sounds like a managerial name, or even like a, I don't know, I think Olivia, or even like I don't know. You can't have a ridiculous name if you're going to run for office or if you're going to do something important or manage someone or manage a team. Not that you can't, but most of the managers or even people in leadership positions I know, they all have the most generic names ever that still sound a little bit imposing. Like Jamie, like if you had a manager named Jamie versus my manager's name is Sunny, it does have a different ring. So I see that if the parents are guilty because they feel like, shoot, we gave our kid a quirky name, are they going to have an issue with maybe their career? Because some people, unfortunately, still judge others by their name. Or would you really take a manager named Daenerys seriously? But you get my drift. You kind of unconsciously start to maybe not see it as seriously. Maybe that's just me. But I don't know. I mean, for all I know, Sonny, I'm starting to call OP Jamie. I'm sorry. I'm not renaming you. Sonny likes his name, and I think he's not an a-hole for not wanting to change it. But I'm slightly concerned on, I guess, is Sonny not serious enough of a name? What do you guys think? What do you think? Is Sonny serious enough?
I'm completely neutral about it. I don't feel one way or the other. I don't know. At this point, the OP is old enough to know whether he likes the name or not. And
You think parents should live with guilt? Deal with it?
I don't understand why parents feel guilty about it. So this whole guilt to me, I don't think that Sunny is like completely ridiculous name.
I think parents are a little bit an a-hole because they went from gently reminding, trying to convince OP to straight up saying, okay, so here are some legal documents. Here are your 3 name options. And yeah, pick one. I think it's kind of weird because now they're giving him the most like, they went from the opposite end of Sunny, a super creative, I would say somewhat quirky name, to, all right, your options are Jamie, Luke, and probably a third one's equally neutral ish. I'm kind of with OP with this. Yeah, stick to your name, OP. But let's see what the comments say. First comment from Painted by Kayak. I mean, this is just sad. In response to quote, being cute and light and full of hope wasn't great for going into my adult years. OP, please go forth into your adult years being cute and light and full of hope. I'm not the only one who noticed that. What do they expect? Should OP just change his name to something more practical like, I don't know. What's something gloomy? What's a gloomy sounding name? Like the opposite of sunny. So being turbulent, stormy. Although I do like Stormy the name, but Your kid is going to his adult years, and your reasoning for him changing his name is, so we kind of did this name thing as a joke, but now that you're older, we kind of feel guilty. I think parents should just suck up the guilt at this point. Another comment from Mission Honeydew 2209. Not the whole, your parents sound exhausting. Opie actually responded, they're reminding me of my grandparents these days, and I don't mean that in a good way. And then the conversation continues. Commenter says, you're going to have to ask them to stop trying to change you. And Opie says, I can try, but I'm not sure how willing they'll be to listen. Opie, I'll be honest, I wish you luck and full of hope as you try to keep your name because it doesn't seem like your parents will change their mind. But I'm with you. Even if you had something that's completely ridiculous, like honestly rough, like RUFF, or something silly, you should stick to your guns. Maybe try to switch the topic when they bring it up because I have a feeling they're going to keep on mentioning your name to you. Now, I'm really hoping the OP will go forward and have his adult years be as light and happy and full of hope as his first name, Sunny. And if you guys are feeling hopeful and enjoying this episode, don't forget to like this video and hit subscribe, guys. We're almost at 3K. Thank you. Our next story is, you guys may have guessed it, our wild pick. So, wild pick is a story that stood out because it's a little chaotic, kind of silly, and I just wanted you guys to hear it. Now, our wild pick story is from the subreddit, Am I Overreacting? Am I overreacting? My partner ate dinner knowing I had nothing to eat. I'm realizing there has been a trend of wild picks being all foodie choices, but I guess it's just, you know what? Maybe the biggest arguments in relationships just happen to be food related, guys. There's a saying. What is it? It's like a way to someone's heart is not through wait, no. A way to someone's heart is through their tummy, through their appetite. I think I kind of butchered that up, but you guys get the drift. I do think that's the way to win someone's heart. So maybe that's also the way to break someone's heart. OP says, we've been together 10 years, been living together for 5. He ordered us DoorDash, but the dasher took food out of the bag and also bit into my burrito. My partner's food was seemingly untouched. He started eating his food and I took 2 bites out of it, but he never offered. He made me do the DoorDash complaint and in that time ate his whole meal without ever offering a single bite to me, knowing there's nothing to eat in the house. Hence the ordering out. I finished the complaint and noticed there were only 2 bites left. I said, wow, you really didn't offer me any? There's no more food. And he shoved the last 2 bites of his bowl in my face and says to finish it. It's literally just rice. I got upset. I said that I was also hungry and that he didn't care about whether or not I ate, as long as he was satisfied. He thinks I'm overreacting and keeps reminding me that this is all the dasher's fault. I understand that, but I think this is a different situation. It makes me feel like he doesn't care about me. I always make sure he's fed. Just brushed my teeth and got ready for bed, and he says I'm being unreasonable and that he's sorry this bothered me. Am I overreacting? I don't know why, guys. We've been through a lot of stories cheating, trespassers in homes, but I feel like the stories that test my patience most are stories like this. They're over seemingly innocent things that become massive blowups. Ugh, where do we begin? So you're telling me the DoorDasher gave you the food, and one of the items, your food item, was a bitten burrito, and then your husband just didn't react to that and just went, "Huh, I'll just eat mine. Mine looks fine," and he ate the whole thing? How does he know nothing happened to his food? For all he knows, that DoorDasher could have taken a bite of that burrito, then spit into his food, and he would not know. That is some confidence. Either he's starving enough to not care, or he just has that amount of trust in the DoorDasher that bit into your burrito, OP. Um, and then second off, the audacity. I'm not saying misery likes company. I mean, okay, fine. Yeah, misery likes company. But in a partnership, sometimes you have to be miserable together. Maybe this is controversial, but if I was starving and my food, I was trying to deal with a complaint, and M over here was munching into, my partner was munching into and enjoying his food, like, this is so good. Yum, 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 eating the whole thing. I would be flabbergasted. I mean, not that I want him to starve, but really? You know what I mean? Like, express some concern for my well being and my appetite too. Jeez. OP, let's admit it. You're petty when you said, wow, you didn't offer me any. You're being petty. I'm kind of here for it though. And then he just goes, here. And there's like two little bites of rice left. I'm imagining like little pebbles of pellets. Is it pellets or pebbles? Pellets of rice just at the bottom
Grains
of his
of
bowl.
rice.
Oh, you're right. I'm so off. I don't know why I said pebbles or pellets. Pebbles? Wait, no. Grains. Grains of rice, like into the bowl, and there's two little grains, maybe. He's like, here, fine. I'd be pissed. I don't think you're overreacting. I'm not saying that he needs to starve because you're starving, OP. I'm not saying your partner needs to starve, but like showing some empathy, almost like even a little bit of a, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that happened, babe. Let's see what we can do. Let's look into this complaint thing together. Let's do a quick Google search of what we should do to make a DoorDasher complaint. Something, or even offer to split the food and make another order while that's ongoing. You know? Because what was his way of thinking? You're with this man for 10 years, a decade, and you're telling me he was definitely okay with eating up his whole rice bowl while you're out here starving. Also, this is my guess, but are you guys eating Chipotle? Because I think of burritos and a rice bowl. I automatically think Chipotle. If this happened to us, what would you do? Like, you realize that my burrito is like half eaten or like a bites out of it, but your food seemingly looks fine. And you're starving. We're both
Yeah,
starving.
I'll be skeptical with eating, even though it looked untouched. But let's say we decided to go with it. I would definitely share it with you.
But would I have to ask you or would you offer?
I would offer in that case. I mean, this to me is common sense to, especially to offer something like that to your partner. I mean, your previous example where like misery loves company. I don't think. I mean, there are different situations, right? Let's say you have a headache or something.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't mean I need to have a headache in that situation. I would, try to help you or do what I can. But yeah, in that situation, it doesn't mean we both need to have a headache, right?
Right.
In this situation where there's a clear solution, I don't think the OP needs to be starving or be hungry while OP's partner is munching
Gorging.
away alone and not sharing in that case. And to use the argument, oh, this was DoorDash's fault. That's not, I don't think that's even what the argument is about. It's just you were not considerate towards your partner, where you very easily could have been.
That's the word I was looking for. Consideration. It's almost like when I said misery loves company, I don't mean that they literally have to both not sit and not eat now, right? Like, not that the partner's not allowed to eat and should starve, but it's more like do something to show that you care or, that you're not just unfazed by something bad that happened to your partner. It's just crazy to me that he not only did he eat, but he ate well because by the time OP was done filling out a complaint, he was done. There's only two little grains of rice left, and he's just saying, "Ugh, here." I mean, come on.
So what happened to OP? Did the OP not end up eating that day or that night or whatever? Like I'm assuming it's dinner for some reason, but
So OP ends the story with she brushed her teeth and got ready for bed.
so
So
she
she
basically
legit
skipped the meal.
starved?
Oh, that's not good. So there's no other DoorDash or
Um,
anything like that. Now that to me seems weird.
that is weird. Well, there's an update. So let's see. So, update OP says, we have things in our cabinets. We just didn't have anything to make a real meal. That's why we decided together to order out. I ended up eating crackers and pepperoni slices. Oh, I mean, I love crackers and pepperoni slices too, but that's not a dinner. I wonder why OP didn't just maybe make another order though. She says, he's mad at me for wanting to explain to him that I felt what he did was selfish. He said he didn't want to be around me. He's so mad at me that he's choosing to sleep on the couch tonight. Dang. See, I'm telling you guys, the biggest fights aren't, over something major. I feel like sometimes even the smallest thing, like literally DoorDash, can cause someone to sleep on the couch. Mm-mm.
I mean, OP's partner's an asshole. Like, how else would you put that? Why is he why is he upset? I'm
He's a
not.
Well, basically, his explanation is because OP called it selfish, which I agree. He was selfish. Was he not? He showed zero consideration.
Yeah. Although you can argue technically it's his food, but given that situation, you're still being selfish by not sharing with your partner.
Yeah. Let's say OP says it took 3 different DoorDash support people to help us get that refund. A reorder wasn't an option, and at that point, the place was no longer accepting orders. The first 2 I dealt with, and I gave up when I saw he finished all his food without offering a bite. He proceeded to make fun of me for not being successful with the refund, while he managed to get back always 90% of the cost back with the third support person. This is not the flex that OP's husband thinks it is. So let me get this straight. So it was too late for her to order anything else. So she kind of went, you know, without dinner, unless you include the 2 spoons of rice grains that she was given. And then it took her 3 DoorDash conversations to get the refund. And then basically, partner or husband is now making fun of OP for not being able to get the refund when he managed to do it with the third support person. I mean, if you keep escalating the issue with DoorDash, eventually you are more likely to get the refund, I'm assuming. So that's not really a flex at all. And then it's like you're making fun of your partner when something really unfortunate happened, which resulted in them starving. Opie, are you sure this man is the one? I know you've been with him for 10 years, but are we sure this is the one? He seems very, very unattractive as a human being so far. Opie continues, I don't expect him to give me his food if I don't have any. I just grew up with different values. We've been together so long, I thought it would just be a normal thought to share, but I was proven wrong. I always have food for him or offer him half of mine when he has none. It's just the way I am. He's never been that way, but this situation was different. Yes, I did take 2 bites without asking, but he immediately picked up the bowl to bring it closer to himself, so I no longer had access to it. And he kept telling me to focus on the DoorDash complaint. I did not wait until he was almost done to say something. I just did not notice until that point. Also, we tipped the Dasher well over 20% for those saying it could have been that reason our food was mishandled. Oh my gosh. When Opie's describing her story, okay, so she took the 2 bites without asking. But you can argue that, okay, OP, you shouldn't have done it. You should have said something before you maybe took 2 bites of his bowl, I guess. But between partners, be real. I would say it's somewhat usually normal to kind of have a bite of your partner's food and them not completely panicking or freaking out, right? Especially in a situation like this where your partner clearly has no food and is starving and is trying to deal with complaints on DoorDash. What kills me though is OP kind of, I guess, stole, if you want to say it like that, in husband's eyes, 2 bites of food. And his reaction was to pick up the bowl. And I'm imagining he's like holding it to his chest, bringing it closer to maybe hunched over shoulders to like shield the bowl from OP's greedy hands. Oh my gosh. That is extreme. Okay. I'm a big foodie. And when I have something I really like, the joke is, for example, okay, we were at a hot pot place the other night, right? Me and Em, and we ordered a drink, right? Well, let's be honest. I ordered the drink to share, but I really just wanted the whole drink. Okay. So we were sharing the drink before you guys judge me. We were sharing it. It was a mango virgin mojito. Very good. It just literally tasted like a mango limeade, if I'm going to be honest. But I'm sipping. And then we get to the last sip where like maybe 1/5 of the drink is left, right? And I asked M and I'm like, oh, do you want last sip? And usually he says, no, you can have it. That is our normal dynamic. Okay. I am used to this dynamic. Today, well, that day, he decides to surprise me. He goes, yeah, sure. That was a betrayal of my trust. Okay. We have been at this so long. I was so sure he was going to say no. And so I literally say, I was hoping you would say no.
And what happened?
I gave it to you.
Yeah, but did I finish the drink?
Yes.
I did not.
You did.
I took
Oh my
I
God,
took a
there's
tiny
like-
little sip, and there was basically
a sliver of liquid. There's maybe 2 millimeters in height of liquid
No, no,
left
no. It
with some
was
ice.
I drank half of what you offered, and
No, you drank the whole thing. Well, I didn't drink the rest. Wait, so are you telling me we wasted that last sip? The last sip is still at the restaurant?
well, by now it's definitely not at the restaurant,
No.
but I guess so because I put it back.
Why didn't you tell me?
I'm pretty sure I did.
No, you didn't. I would have taken that last little gulp. Do you see what I have to deal with, guys? Do you see this? I was lied to. The moral of the story, anyways, was that we have a dynamic, okay? I ask him if he wants the last bite. He says no, so I automatically get the last bite. That night, he switched it up on me. He switched up our dynamic, okay? But what happened? I still gave him the last drink, even if he didn't finish this last sip, technically. Here, I could never imagine. That's like me offering, or okay, say I don't offer, right? But if M wanted a sip or a bite of something, I would still give it to him. Will I complain? Yes. But would I still hand it over? Yes. Here, I'm just imagining this husband is hoarding the food. Like they're in apocalypse. If they were, OP, watch out because your husband will not share a morsel of food with you. Oh my gosh, you know what? I will drop it. Drop the D. Divorce. It is early on, and this might sound silly over DoorDash, but divorce. You're telling me, here's my argument, okay? Food is the basis of our survival, right? It's like you need food, you need water, and you need shelter, basically, and safety. And he was ready to deny you access to something that he had, what I would argue, almost an abundance of when you were starving. And he acted like it was offensive for you to take 2 bites of his food. This is your husband that you've known for a decade? I feel like maybe this is the question we need to ask ourselves whenever I drop the D word. Would you want to be with this person in apocalypse? If the answer is no, then perhaps you shouldn't be spending the rest of your life with this person. Is that fair? I feel like that's a fair question. Yeah? Apocalypse partner? Yes, no. No, divorce partner, you know? So, OP. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but the fact that Opie's husband kept telling her whenever she wanted some food, he went, no, keep on focusing on the DoorDash complaint. Is that his way of distracting her so that she would focus on that and not eat the rest of his food or eat more of his food? Because I feel like if my partner's struggling with something with DoorDash or whatever, I would start Redditing or Googling something to see if I can maybe work some magic or figure something out. You know, try to work the problem with them. Ah, okay. I will have to say, I have a controversial take on tipping DoorDashers. Before you guys start screaming at me like, oh, you should be tipping. I'm not saying don't tip your DoorDash. That is not what I'm saying. So hold your horses. I am saying that it makes more sense for you to tip after you receive your order. Does it not? Because is a tip not what you want to give on top for whatever, it's like good service that you received, right? And a lot of times with DoorDash and Uber, if you tip beforehand, I mean, which is great, like, which is awesome. If you want to tip beforehand, you go do it, right? I've had a lot of orders where I tip beforehand and then the order comes and I have food missing. It's happened multiple times on different orders. And I don't know, maybe it's just the DoorDash in my area or the Uber Eats in my area, but it doesn't make sense to me that we've become a system where you expect over 20% of tip on an order that you've yet to service. You know, does that? It doesn't make sense. So I don't agree with any comments that maybe this is why OP added this in the update that say, oh, maybe you didn't tip well enough and that's why they ate your food. I don't think that's a good enough reason or a valid reason for someone to eat your food.
It's a shitty justification because the core problem is not. You could argue that the core problem is the person ordering it because they're using the service. They're supporting a company that is
Underpaying
underpaying and
their
not,
workers.
yeah, or not charging proper fees that should be charged for the delivery so that the delivery driver can be properly compensated.
I think it's also, my perspective has changed a lot more because growing up in the US, I'm very much used to the tipping system. You know, we tip on everything now. Has it gotten a little bit crazy now, hand? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. In some cases, right? I believe people should be tipped for their services. But I've also been to countries where a lot of others, like they just pay their workers a decent wage so that their workers are not relying on, I'll just say it, what feels like scraps. Like you're trying to get people to pay extra, right? The customer pay extra because you're underpaying your workers. Why don't we just make them whole from the beginning? Does that make sense? Like if you go to Japan, you go to Vietnam, they're the same way. There's no tip. I mean, you can give them more money if you so choose for any service, but typically all the fees, all the extra services, all that is built in so that the workers already paid. And you might get some weird looks if you do tip them more because then they're like, what is this for? Why? You know, like I'm just all for compensate someone well enough from the beginning so that they aren't then trying to kind of make it up through tips, which can vary depending on the person. Even if you're the best service person, you can just meet bad tippers, right? So why not just pay them well from the beginning? That is my argument. I'm still tipping with the US system, of course, but it's just kind of weird, you know? I don't know. Let me know in the comments how you guys feel about the whole tipping system we have here in comparison to maybe if you traveled somewhere else that doesn't operate on the tipping system. Okay, let's look at the comments. From Browdy the Cat. Dude, your partner doesn't even like you. What a depressing relationship you're in. Literally, any friend or even acquaintance I have would treat me better than this, let alone my partner who treats me like a queen. Don't settle for this shit. Okay, first off, flex. Okay, go you, Browdy the Cat. Very happy. Oh, I almost dropped the iPad. Very happy that your partner treats you like a queen. I'm very happy for you. But I think I kind of agree. Usually it's hard to make an assessment on a relationship when we only really hear like what? An essay's worth of an instance or a scene from their relationship. So like almost like a flicker of what's really going on. But even from this one flicker that we're seeing, it's just so obvious. Oh, wait, does your man like you? Like for real? Does he adore you? Does he like your presence? Because say replace you with a friend. If a friend was starving and you guys both ordered DoorDash and the friend was like, "Can I have some?" A normal person's reaction or a normal friend's reaction is not to then like go and hoard and hunch away with your bowl of rice for fear that some hooligan will swipe away your last grains or pellets. Ah, dang it, pellets. Grains of rice, right? I mean, it's not even like you're stealing a protein, assuming he has protein in his bowl. He's not just eating some rice and beans. But don't settle. OP, 10 years is 10 years, but you know what? There's so many more fish in the sea, fish that are willing to share their food with you. This is so sad. A decade with this man. Another comment from Empty Nest Nana. This exact thing happened to my husband and I. My husband tossed the entire thing after taking pictures, drove to the nearest food place while I was dealing with the problem online because my husband is awesome. I'm starting to feel really bad for OP in a different way because it seems like the cop comments, you guys are all flexing your mans. Come on. She's dealing with a very shitty one and you guys are like, can't be my mans.
See, I don't even see it as a flex. To me, that's
common sense.
well, kind of, yeah.
It's sad. The standards are low here, guys. Standards are low. OP, please. You've even heard it from a man himself. This is common sense. Your man doesn't even have common sense. Commenter continues. My husband is awesome. He flat out refused to eat his food because mine was obviously tampered with. He would not eat while I went hungry. He did not want to risk eating his food if it had been spit in or something. He just tossed it all and we went to Waffle House. Not overreacting, your partner showed a great lack of empathy and common sense. It was very obvious the food had been messed with and he still ate it. So gross. Yeah. I think some of these stories, they always make me wonder, why didn't the partner do something else? Like make a different choice, because there's so many things they could have done. Like, for example, with the comment, like, okay, dump the food, then you decide to get your butt up and drive somewhere, or you place another order, right? And then you both can be happy together. Whereas here, husband was ready to risk it all with that tampered food. I'll be honest, I think it was tampered with. I don't think it was completely untouched. I mean, if someone's gonna bite into your burrito, why not taste some of your rice too while they're at it? Also, someone needs to explain to me why DoorDashers in general, and Uber Eats, like a lot of these delivery app people, they eat or take the food because you know it's going to get reported, right? Like, if someone's going to notice something's missing.
I mean, potentially that happened at the restaurant itself, and the DoorDasher didn't do anything.
Oh,
And
could
that's a
be.
possibility, but who
That could
knows?
be a possibility. Overall, verdict is not overreacting, but perhaps you may want to consider divorce, OP. I don't know. You're living together for 5 years, you've been together for 10, and this is what you're putting up with. It sounds extreme, but perhaps D-Day might be for you. Divorce? Do you think that's overboard?
I think it comes down to the OP whether they're okay with that or not. Personally,
Yeah.
to me, this if you were like that, I don't think the relationship would work because I think there would be other aspects of the relationship where you would be selfish as well. I don't think it's the food is just a single case where that would happen or that would show.
Yeah, that's true. Or it's just a reflection of how you make decisions and how you go about things.
Yep, doesn't seem like a partnership to me.
I'm just imagine if they were in an apocalyptic scenario. He's ready to go all Spartan on her. Oh my gosh. I think I would be pretty hurt. If even the action, like it sounds like so childish and dumb a little bit, but if we were eating something, like in general, it doesn't have to be that someone tampered with our food or we DoorDash, right? And then I made a motion to eat and you just went, you turned away from me physically like that or tried to hide your food, like not in a joking way, but in a serious way, I would be hurt because I don't know. It just kind of feels like you're shunning me in some way. It's okay if you don't want me to eat your food, but the action of it in a serious way would kind of hurt me a little.
I mean, especially if there's no, I would call it like proper food in the house.
Yeah, like no alternative.
Um,
You're like, it's either me or you, and you're going down. That's what it kind of feels like. Our third story is also from the subreddit Am I the A-hole? Am I the a-hole for kicking my sister out of my house over a garden? My sister has lived with me since she was a teen mom. She has her own little space for her and her kids. It's my house. I own it. My fiance, Amy, moved in, and as my wife, Amy, can remodel the home as she likes. Amy and I have been together for 4 years. My sister has lived with me for 6. My sister and Amy got into this huge argument over ripping out my grass where her kids play and making a garden that will bloom next spring. Amy had discussed this with me and it was agreed on. Because of our different schedules, we forgot about my sister and telling her about the garden. Amy took a few days off from work to meet with the contractors for the initial digging up the yard. This happened while I was at work. My sister made a scene with the contractors and yelled at Amy. Amy told my sister that it's time for her to move out and get on with her own life. I've been supporting her and her kids for too long. A neighbor got involved and called the police, saying Amy wasn't authorized to have the contractors dig up the yard. Amy was asked to leave the property by the police with an overnight bag. This was supervised by the police because I was not reachable at work. My sister told me, quote, "Can you believe this bitch ripping up the yard like that?" I had to leave work and take my hour commute home to deal with my sister. I told her it's time for her to move out and she should have never been involved with the garden. It wasn't her place. It's not her effing home. I feel like things went from 0 to 100 so fast. Uh, okay, let me get this straight. So we got teen mom's sister who lives at home with her brother, who's OP, and OP fiance has been moved in for several years. So they've all been cohabiting. That sounds wrong somehow. They've all been living together in the home and existing, and things are fine. They're trying to get a garden in place, and then sister's like, "No, don't you dare rip up the grass. This is where my kids play." And then the neighbor got involved and the police got involved and then Amy, the fiance, got kicked out. Um, it's one thing. Like, I get if the contractors came and maybe the fiance, Amy, wasn't home and OP wasn't home. So then Amy feels weird because she wasn't told anything and she kicks the contractors out. That's one thing. But the fact that your brother's fiance's there and telling you, hey, he approved this work. This work is fine. It's going. And it's to the point where you feel entitled enough to like stand in her way and call the police. I feel like maybe before this, Amy, the fiance's relationship with the sister wasn't all that great. Because there's no way you have a relationship with your brother's fiance and you're okay with it escalating to the point where she's having police escorting her off the property, right? I think there is more beef behind the scenes than what we're seeing.
I think there has definitely has to be.
Oh, I mean, it's over grass.
I don't think it's overgassed. I think there was something between them already. But in any case, what is surprising to me, how come the OP's fiance was escorted by police out of the house? That I just like that to me doesn't make any sense.
No.
Like, why was she the one to leave?
Right?
Because
So,
it seems she has been living there for multiple years.
mhm. I wonder, I don't know how it is. Like, depending on the country that OP's in, I wonder how they dealt with this. Because if the neighbor, it seems like the neighbor somehow got involved, right? So, neighbor and sister could have told the police, hey, she's trespassing. She doesn't have a right to be here and call these contractors to do work here. So, that's the only explanation I can think of. Because I know for evictions or even, I guess not an eviction, but like kicking people off property, typically the police will listen to whoever kind of, I guess, whoever they think is in the right. And I think due diligence would be, can you show documents or like a letter or a bill, whatever that shows that this is your address? But maybe they don't get to that if sister's just adamant, like with her kids, and this is my home and this is the trespasser. So I don't know, but it must have gotten pretty heated if the police are then watching her and then like pack an overnight bag and escorting her off the property. But let's see. OP says, my sister was complaining that her boys love to play in that patch of grass, and she can't believe I would make changes to her play area without consulting her. That line alone says a lot. Is sister aware that she's being taken care of here and she's living here, presumably rent free, with her boys? But that doesn't mean that it's her home. Home? Because it doesn't seem like she's aware that this is not her house. Because why does OP, the owner, need to consult her if he wants to change a patch of grass in his home? Let's see. OP says, Amy is effing pissed at my sister and the neighbor. The neighbor tried to apologize, but I had to tell the neighbor there is no more coming over because she will be trespassing, and she had no business calling the police and making the situation worse. The neighbor explained that she didn't know Amy was authorized to make those changes. And I told the neighbor, too effing bad. She's banned from the property even though she's friends with my sister and their kids play together. I told my sister that her and the boys have to go and she needs to be out by the new year or we will take legal action on her. Oh, okay. So, neighbor and the sister are BFFs and their kids play together. So, maybe they were in cahoots and they told the police some sort of story of how this Amy, the fiance, is trespassing. She doesn't have rights to make those changes. And I guess since they couldn't call OP and OP didn't, I guess, pick up at work, maybe the officers just went with and sided with the sister.
I mean, even so, I mean, I understand they're potentially digging up the yard, but it's why would you call the police? That to me is extreme. Like, even so, let's say
Yeah.
the fiance is not authorized to uh, make any changes. Okay, let's just wait until the homeowner comes back from work and have a discussion, right? Like it's not
Neighbor
like
called
you
the police.
yeah, it's not like you can't
Oh.
undo the grass, right? You can always plant new grass. It's not the biggest deal ever. Yeah, why do you have to involve police? That to me is that I can't make sense of it.
At first, I thought, oh, well, the neighbor didn't know and maybe she misread the situation. But after hearing this, I'm with OP on banning the neighbor from coming over to visit anymore.
Yeah, I mean that to me is
She just stuck her nose into a place where she shouldn't have. I mean, it just seems crazy because, okay, so Amy, the fiance, has been living here for what, 4 years or so? So there's no way the neighbor doesn't know Amy exists, right?
right.
And she still felt like, no, I'm going to side with the sister. You know what? Let me escalate the situation by calling the police. Honestly, I don't think it's too rough that OP or overreacting that OP is going ahead to kick out the sister now.
Not at all.
They escalated it way too much.
And I mean, also the comment that she made when the OP came back home,
Oh, yeah. She called
that
your
is way out
fiance
of
a bitch. And she doubled down by saying, how dare you not consult her first on your patch of grass?
yeah. That to me alone would be
The boot.
the
Time to
boot.
give the boot. I'm annoyed. The entitlement is so loud. Is sister just clueless of the situation of what she did? Or is she just. See, I'm still on the theory that sister had a vendetta with fiance from the beginning. Like she didn't like Amy, the fiance, and this was just her way of, okay, how can I make this situation worse? How can I maybe kick out Amy or start beef up with Amy?
Oh, for sure.
Because there's no way someone does this, and you've been living together for 4 years.
Yep.
OP continues. My sister keeps crying and apologizing, but her actions showed Amy what her married life would be like with my sister living with us. And I'm putting my wife first, and my sister has to go. Oh, okay. Okay. I'd like to give OP a little clap because I am living for it lately where some of these stories that we're having, finally an OP with guts and the actions to match his words. Yes. I would have guessed that OP would stall a little bit and say, okay, let me try and mediate between the two. And, let me try to soothe both sides. But no. He's resolute. He's like, no, okay, you've got to go. You've shown me what it's going to be like if my fiance lives in the home full time with us as my wife. You're going to be a problem. Okay, it's time for you to grow up. And to be fair, I think OP's done his job to support and help his sister. She may be a teen mom, but it's been 6 years. You're telling me in the 6 years, she's now what? I'm assuming she's at least in her 20s, 20 something, that she hasn't gotten her stuff together to figure it out. I think she kind of overstayed her welcome here.
I think the only tiny complaint for the OP, I would say, is he probably should have mentioned it. Not that he has the obligation, but I think it would just
Oh, yeah.
would have been just I
Just
guess a
heads up.
nice thing to do. But other than that, OP's not the AO.
I agree. So there is an edit. OP says, Amy and I spoke to a lawyer and we're getting the legal paperwork together for my sister's eviction. The lawyer also suggested cameras for the yard and those will be installed next week. I'm sending my sister legal notice of the cameras being installed to cover my ass per the lawyer's request. I do not blame the police for the reaction and neither does Amy. I mean, I kind of blame them a little bit. Like they couldn't have done a more thorough check? Question mark. I don't know how escorting someone off the property works, but they couldn't have checked. Like if they asked, I'm thinking if they asked Amy to hand over proof that she lives here, maybe a driver's license or an ID, it would probably list this address, right? Since she's been living here for 4 years. No? Like why didn't the police check is my question.
Yeah, she'd likely ask some kind of bill, anything like that in her name that would come to the house. So I think that should have been done.
Yeah.
To make sure before you evict someone, or not evict, but kick someone out of
The property.
right.
I will say though, it looks like OP and Amy are talking about an eviction. So sister's refusing to leave is what I'm guessing. Which is that's sad. I think it's really unfortunate when family members have to start, I guess, going through legal procedures. Because typically with family, if you have a dispute, you try to kind of settle it behind closed doors, right? In private. And for it to get to the point of, all right, time to put a legal eviction on it. That's rough. OP, I'm sorry for you. So he does continue. He says, our destination wedding is coming up in a few weeks. My sister was not going because of her relationship with our parents. But with the cameras being installed by then, with the legal notice, my sister is not to tamper with the OP, your grammar. The run-on sentence is killing me. Okay. But the cameras will be installed by then. And with the legal notice, my sister is to not tamper with the cameras or make any cosmetic changes to the property while we are out of town. Ooh, okay. OP, I will caution you. If you and Amy are going to be out of town for your wedding in a few weeks, do you trust your sister to not tamper with anything while you're gone? Honestly, even with the cameras. If she covers it, Who's to say what she's going to do with that grass or that patch of land or yard that you have? I don't know that I would trust your sister to watch your house while you're gone, to be honest. Like, don't be surprised if you come back from your wedding and the yard looks different. I don't know. I don't really trust the sister right now. Also, congratulations, OP. Your wedding's coming up. So congrats to you and the missus. There is a second edit from OP. OP says, my sister has never paid rent or utilities or any other upkeep of the home. We have a maid that comes every other week to do basic cleaning because the house gets dirty with the kids. My sister does have a job, and both Amy and I do watch the boys several nights a week. Oh, okay. This cements it for me. OP, 100% you're not the a-hole. Amy is not the a-hole either, but sister is a mega a-hole. You're telling me you've been there her free childcare for potentially years. You watch her boys several nights a week and you're housing her, free rent, free utilities, and you have a maid that comes in to clean the house after her boys. And she allowed the police to escort your fiance out of your home? Oh, that's okay. With your edits, that provides an even clearer picture of what's going on. You know what? I'm revising my statement. I not only think that Amy doesn't like your fiance, I think Amy feels threatened by your fiance because you and your sister have had this dynamic for a long time. You take care of the house things for her, you take care of rent, utilities, all of that, right? Once Amy's in the picture, you're probably going to prioritize, well, you have been prioritizing Amy, rightfully so, your fiance and your soon to be wife. And she probably knew that Amy's going to be moving in. I guess if she hasn't moved in full time already, then yeah, she's going to be there permanently as a fixture for life after the wedding. And likely there won't be a space for Amy to live there. Or sorry, not Amy, the sister to live there after your wedding. That's my theory. Is that too overboard? It seems unusual, especially when your sibling has a upcoming destination wedding. That's a lot of planning, that's a lot of pressure. Sometimes it's not unusual to feel kind of overwhelmed in the weeks, like a few weeks before their wedding. And you're telling me your sister thought it's totally okay to have the police escort your fiance and would-be wife off the property. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. The free childcare and the free rent and utilities really take me out though. So let's see comments. First comment from Superb Potential 2610. Not the whole, you took your sister in because she was a teen mom and supported her financially, as I understand it, for at least 6 years. You talk about kids, plural, among other things. Did she get pregnant after moving in with you? I also have to wonder, what about what about the father, your parents? Regardless of the answers, your sister has behaved very badly. She's a guest in your house. She's being supported, and she even has a nerve to meddle in your future wife's renovations, the one you've been with for 4 years now. Entitled doesn't go far enough in this case, not to mention the neighbor, nosy and inappropriate. You did well across the board. I only feel sorry for the children who will suffer the most from the tantrums of these two. I agree. Imagine someone houses you, supports you during your tough time as a teen mom, no rent needed, no utilities payment, free childcare. Oh, for several nights and a week? For years? And you kick out their fiance? What is wrong with you? Oh my gosh. Another comment from Shichimi88. Not the neighbor overstepped. You had too much grace for your sister. Start the eviction notice now officially or she'll squat. Opie says, I will send her a legal notice to leave. It's probably best since she's been crying over the situation since last week. Oh, you know what I missed? Sister's been crying crocodile tears because, oh, she's so distraught. She's crying. Of course she's crying because she's being evicted. But I have yet to see a smidge of remorse. Opie mentions nothing about sister saying, I am sorry. I totally blew the situation out of proportion. I went overboard. I was a dummy. My bad. None of that. Just boo-hoo, boo-hoo crying probably because now she's not going to get free rent, utilities, or probably groceries too, now that I think about it, right? And a home. And a nice home with a yard for her kids to play in. I says, it's thinking of crocodile tears. I don't think sister is going to learn her lesson, but maybe in Vietnamese, we have this phrase. When someone can't learn a lesson, maybe die, said yeah, which means maybe the world will teach them. So maybe sister will learn that in this case. Now, our last story is from the subreddit AITH. This one's a little kooky. This one was almost our wild pick, guys. Let's see. This story is from AITH. Would I be the a hole for being upset at my wife's reason for marrying me? My wife, 31 years old female, is a very practical person and not really girly. I don't know how to explain it other than she sees everything as a cost benefit analysis and doesn't seem to take much of her own preferences into account if she thinks something is objectively better. She is a senior data scientist, so maybe it's why she's good at her job. I love the practicality. It's so nice to have a debate on why we should do something because of X, Y, and Z, not because of feelings. But I asked her a question on Saturday and it's been bugging me since. I asked her why she married me, kind of wanting to hear how much she loves me. She said, because you asked. Wow. Okay, before I rush into judgment, let's see how the conversation goes. Opie says, and I asked, well, what made you say yes? Then she said, because I trust your judgment. I was kind of taken back and asked her what she meant. She essentially explained that she loves me, but that's not enough and she would never marry someone based on love alone. She said when she was younger, she loved an idiot who would have ruined her life if she married him, so she never dated him seriously. She says love and marriage are not the same things. She said she trusts me to make decisions that would benefit us and our goals, and marriage is like trusting someone with your life and everything you've built. I guess I should be flattered, but it only seems like she picked me because I'm a logical choice. Shouldn't it be more than that? That's what's bothering me. But I also know she sincerely thinks it's a huge compliment. Would I be the a hole? I'm interested in hearing what you guys think about this one. I support the wife's explanation in some ways because I agree with her. Love is not enough. And I'll tell my sister the same thing, my girlfriends the same thing. I don't think love is enough to support a marriage or even a relationship. You can't just a relationship needs consideration, it needs empathy, it needs care. It's almost like a plant, you don't just put it in a corner and then, there's love and expect it to just bloom and blossom forever. There's going to be seasons. Sometimes things aren't going to be so great and sometimes things are going to get messy. And that's where kind of the compassion, the empathy and courage and all of that comes in. So I see from the wife's perspective that I think she was honest. Like, how it came out initially, I think comes off a little bit cold because, oh, why did you marry me? Because you asked. That's okay. That's not very romantic, right? And when she goes to explain more, I think I understand her better and I'm with her more. Yeah, it's a huge compliment. Okay, as a woman, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, it's a huge compliment when your partner can say that you're someone that she trusts to make decisions for the both of you and that you trust that you're someone she's trusting with her life and everything she's built. I think that's huge. Like that's even more than saying a simple I love you. It's saying I love you and I love your whole existence and your whole existence matches with my direction and where we're going as a couple. Like I feel that. I don't know. What do you guys think? I would say, yeah, she may be logical and she could have toned it down the coldness in the beginning, but I think it's honestly romantic how she said it. Am I weird? What do you think?
Hmm. I'd say that objectively, I don't think it was, at least initially, not the most romantic way to put it.
Yeah.
Given her background being a data scientist
Yeah.
and her personality being as such, and I think her explanation afterwards, I think it makes sense. And I think OP is getting too caught up with the initial response of,
Yeah.
oh, because you asked, that's
Hmm.
why I married you. I guess my question is, well, what is the OP upset about? Well, what would the OP be an asshole about?
So Obi's asking if he would be the a-hole for being upset right now. Because he's upset. After hearing all that, he was upset. It's bothering
Yeah,
him.
what is OP upset about? The lack of romance or romantic answer or what
So
else?
he says that I guess I should be flattered, but it only seems like she picked me because I'm a logical choice. Shouldn't it be more than that? That's what's bothering me.
Yeah, but
I mean,
to
okay.
his answer, didn't she say that she loved him as well?
Yes. And I think I agree with you. I think he's just hung up on the initial aspects of it because she said, oh, because you asked, because you make sense. And I think you make sense is not as nice sounding of an answer than Yes, I love you, plus you're this, this, and this.
Yeah. Is OP thinking that she only picked him because he made sense and not because
I
of
think so.
love as well?
I think he might be feeling insecure. I think that's what it is. As a fellow lady, all I can say to you is I think this is a very flattering way to say that you love your partner because more than love, I think trust is the most important thing in a relationship. And she's literally telling you that she trusts you with the life that with both of your lives and everything that you've built. I think that says a lot. So I would say, okay, try not to focus too much on, I guess, the initial delivery of it and focus more on the overall big picture of what she's telling you. What would you think if you asked me like, "Oh, why do I want to get married to you?" And I said, "Because you asked." I think you probably would have a same kind of off-putting reaction.
I would, but because your personality is not
That's true.
as his OP's, I guess, wife or fiance. I don't know. Are they married?
Yes, they are married.
Okay, so yeah, as OP's wife, I guess.
Well, honey, why do you want to marry me?
Because I asked.
No, you can't say that. See, it's a big question. I think it's hard to answer some of these questions on the fly. Like not hard because you're fumbling for words, but more like it's a heavier question than you would expect. Like it's serious yet light at the same time. So, why do you want to marry me? You're not getting off scot-free here. See, it's Rob. I'm putting him on the spot.
I don't think you're putting me on the spot, but I don't
No?
know.
Oh, you think it's an
Maybe
easy
it's
thing to
a,
answer?
a story for next time.
So you guys may have suspected that I picked the story because it's cute. I think this is really cute, despite Opie having some sort of relationship existential crisis from it. But I think it's really cute. Let's see what the comments say, though. I might be wrong. First comment from Arevio. Him. I love how she makes logical choices and doesn't argue based on feelings. Her. I made this I made this decision based on logic and not purely because of my feelings. Him. Surprise Pikachu face. I'm okay. That is true. Opie did say that the thing that you love about your wife is that she's logical. So she did give you a very logical answer. That's hilarious. Another comment from Brief Ben 8605. Wait, is this not how other people choose a partner to marry? She loves you. Check. She trusts you. Check. She knows you will prioritize unit goals that will benefit the marriage and your lives. Check. This is actually high praise. These are real answers, not superficial ones. You love her for her practicality. She was honest and I think quite flattering. I think you are way over analyzing all of this in some kind of negative light, and you really shouldn't. I agree. I agree.
I
I
th-
like this comment.
yeah, I think it comes from the fact that the general thing what you would hear is when
Right.
someone asks you, "Oh, why do you love me?" Will be, or I guess, "Why did you marry me?" "Oh, because I love you."
Yeah.
Right? That's generic response, I guess.
Okay, maybe I'm a weirdo. I think this is the more like the way wife answered was even more romantic than the generic, oh, because I love you. Duh. It's just, oh, I could feel her love and trust in him. I just wish he saw it too. Opie, I hope you see this. Like, if you end up seeing the story, we've had a viewer before whose story I read on here. So I was very excited and also kind of nervous. But Opie, if you ever come across this video, I hope you know how much your wife values you and adores you. Now, another comment. So someone actually shares their own personal experience with this. Comment from a Lauren Stormcrow. I married someone and love was the only thing we shared. A relationship built on love alone. No trust, no communication, different goals, different personalities, different everything. Can you believe we divorced after 2 years? It's not that we didn't love one another, it's that we were not a good match to build a life together. It takes more than just love. Love is a prerequisite. I remarried years later and it all clicked. This. Didn't I tell you guys? Okay. I think unlike the movies that sometimes gloss it over and they always make it seem like with love you can triumph over everything. I'm like, no, it's love, it's empathy, it's compassion, it's support, it's care, it's maintenance. It's a lot of things. You can't just expect your one little magic ingredient love to make everything be better. That's why if you guys ever watch K-dramas, you notice how many tropes there are where it's always like I think the chaebol, I'm not pronouncing it right, but basically the heir of a company. The male lead is usually the like rich heir of some company, right? And then the girl is usually what? Some poor chick, okay? Some normal worker pleb, like plebeian like us, some normal person. Or sometimes they're struggling even, right? And the idea is they go through all these hardship and stuff. Ah, yes, they fall in love. But notice how many problems are solved because the male lead is the CEO or some rich dude because comes in, he's like, "Oh, you got an issue with the manager? Don't worry, babe, I got you." And he flashes his gold or platinum card, whatever it is, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Mr. Choi, whoever you are. I didn't know it was you." Of course, take the room. Oh, you booked the whole restaurant? Oh, cool. Oh, you want a romantic proposal on a yacht? Check. Like he just comes and sweeps her off her feet and solves all the problems. I think there's a reason why that trope is popular. No, like imagine it was a story of look at this normal worker and look at her. She's also a normal worker. And they're both financially struggling. They both have spending problems. And then together they love each other, but they're also big spenders together. What kind of love story would that be? We would not watch that, guys. Come on. Even the movie Crazy Rich Asians. The main dude is literally rich. His family is huge and owns all these companies. And what was it, Singapore? Like, really think about how many movies or romantic rom coms you've seen where one person is disproportionately wealthier or like has something else going for them, right? Like, I'm not saying you have to be rich to have a very lovely romantic relationship, okay, guys? That's not the point. But I'm saying usually you need more than just love because if you have two characters that are living in a cardboard box, it's very hard to be romantic when you're both starving or worried about something or another. I rest my case. I proclaim myself now the expert on love, guys. As a result, I'm just kidding. But I have been in the mood for some rom-coms lately. So if you guys have heard of any good ones, Labyrinth is on my list. I don't know if it's a rom-com, but you guys keep telling me to watch it now since our last episode. So I will watch it. Emma and I are going to watch it together. I'm excited to see because you guys have been hyping it up a lot. So definitely recommend any, I don't know, either spooky thriller movies or rom-coms for me so I can watch. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like this video and hit subscribe, guys. We're almost at 3K. And if you're listening to me on Spotify, don't forget to rate me 5 stars, please. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.